Guys, so we are back today with another story time video. So I think I found a scheduled time for story time. So I think we're gonna do story time Saturdays, seeing that I'm doing what I eat in a week Wednesdays. So we're gonna stick with the theme, and I think we're gonna do story time Saturdays, and we're gonna stick to about 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, guys. So that's gonna be the schedule for story time. I want to thank you guys so much for the love on the story times that I've been posting. Again, I love these. It's a therapy session for all of us together. Thank you guys so much for all the positive feedback in my recent story time, guys. If you have not watched that one, make sure you go ahead and click the cards. Also, thank you for all the love in what I eat in a week. Let me tell you something. I show my big back in the beginning of that video, and usually it is what it is. Usually I wouldn't do something like that, but I was like, you know what, it is what it is. This is a lifestyle journey. So thank you guys so much for showing so much love on the what I eat in a week video. I'm back at it again, guys. It's 2025, and I told you guys it's going to come back very consistent this year. So we're already starting to get things rolling, guys. So let me know what you guys think about story times on Saturdays. I think that might do a little something. What y'all think? Today's video, I already went ahead and did my brows. I primed my face with the e.l.f. primer, and I also did go ahead and put some foundation powder on my eyelids. I'm not doing eyeshadow today, so it's just gonna be a basic eye. My lashes are on week, guys, but I'm gonna go ahead and get them filled in next week. So I'm gonna have to just do what to do with them. Obviously, you guys can see which side I favor at nighttime. Because this one is like real little, but it is what it is. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys like my foundation routine in this video, because I feel like when I do the eyeshadows and all that stuff, it just gets like really out of hand. So I'm gonna keep it simple and show you guys how I do my concealer, my setting powder and stuff like that. And I'm just going for like a basic look today. But here's the hair. Again, I don't remember where this hair is from, guys. It's old. I just keep revamping, and she just looks really good. I sprayed her down, and she just looks fabulous AF. I just love this little, design here. Very cute, very demure. So as you guys can see in the title, this story time is about the Antigua vlog. Now, I feel like the Antigua vlog, or the Antigua trip that I went on previously, not the one I went on last year with my friends, the one previous to that, I feel like that vlog was the most notable vlog, and it was kind of like the catalyst in my life, or to get me to go ahead and make the move to leave that person. And I'm gonna tell you guys, that was the last trip that I ever went on with that person, and I knew on that trip that I was gonna leave that person real soon. So I want to go ahead and talk about the trip. There's a lot of things that happened on the trip, and I feel like I remember I saw this thing on TikTok, this video, and this girl was talking about how you go on a trip with somebody, and like it's supposed to be romantic, it's supposed to be a nice trip, and it's just like the worst trip ever. I've had that experience, y'all. I've had that experience. Like, there's nothing worse than going away with somebody who does not like you, or someone that literally hates you. Like, yeah, so go ahead and grab your snack and your drink, guys. We're gonna go ahead and get into the story time. So I may have to start, but I may have to go ahead and do like little segments in this, because the Antigua vlog, there's a couple of things that happened on the trip. And again, when you're in the moment, again, when you're the type of person that wants something to work so bad, you just let everything go by and just think. I don't know, I feel like, does anyone feel like this? Like, a lot of the time when you're in relationships, because you were told by our boomer and our Gen X parents that, oh, you're just supposed to stick it through, you're just gonna make it work, you gotta stick it through, you just gotta be with this man. And because we watched our parents go through stuff, our moms and stuff go through stuff with like their significant others or whatever it is, and you just always see them stick it through. So I kind of felt like I had that mentality, like, oh, even if it's bad, like, it could be worse, but let's just stick it through. And I feel like that mentality was something that I carried on in my relationships in the past. Just kind of like, oh, this is not bad, you could deal with it, just stick through. No, girl, no. So the first thing with this whole Antigua trip was the even planning the trip process. Now, this trip was a birthday trip for the person, and the person, honestly, in my opinion, was very demanding. Now, there is nothing that I hate more than a person that is super ungrateful and super demanding. And when I mean demanding, it could just be about like regular stuff. Oh, can you do this for me? Or can you do that for me? Something, it doesn't have to be anything major, anything. It could be something simple as well too, right? But they're very demanding about the certain thing that they need from you. But at the same time, you can't be demanding if you can't even do it for yourself. So that's number one. Now, I say that to say this. On that trip, we were supposed to go to Costa Rica. Now, initially, he wanted to pick out where he wanted to go for his birthday, whatever. Y'all know, when it comes to me, like when it comes to my friends and family, I want everyone to win. I want everyone to enjoy something nice. I want everyone to have the experience. I'm fortunate enough to have those experiences, to be able to afford those experiences and afford to bring my friends and family on those experiences with me. You know, like, I'm not going to be shicey when it comes to stuff like that. If I could do it, I can bring y'all with me. We can all do it together. You know, feel me? I'm not shicey when it comes to that, especially if I consider you friends and family, right? Again, not everybody. And again, it goes to the saying, like, not everybody needs to come with you. Not everybody needs to be part of stuff. Again, I chose, this person probably just did not need to be part of those things. But again, we live and we learn, right? So at this time, this was like when COVID was like really peaking, right? So this was like maybe like a year after when people, like, things started to open up again. And around this time, a lot of the countries were changing their travel policies and stuff like that. So I believe it was the third vaccine that came out, and I had to get the third vaccine. But by the time I got the third vaccine, Costa Rica had changed their advisory, so I wouldn't be able to get it in time to go on that trip. Do y'all know that this man got mad at me for that? And when I mean mad at me, almost kind of like yelling at me at the fact, like, oh, you didn't do it. Not even yelling, not like physically yelling, but like very aggressive or passive aggressive. Oh, you know, like, this is my birthday, and like, you didn't even really take time and consideration about making sure you got this. Like, basically saying that I didn't do the best I could to plan the trip accordingly. Now, I'm gonna say this, and I don't really care, like, if it comes out like, you know, like bitchy or whatever it is. When I met this person, right? When I met this person just got his passport and just got his first stamp on his passport, and his stamp on his passport was to Canada. Every single trip every stamp that this person has on their passport, I don't know what they're doing, I really don't care, has been because of me. And when I say sometimes people don't need to go place with you don't need to bring people place with you, that's the only regret that I have out of anything that's happened to me. There are certain places that he should have never been with me, like should have never gone with me. If it wasn't, I hate to say it like that and be ugly, but bro, for you to be this demanding and ungrateful, like, are you kidding me? It's not as if I didn't try, but like, bro, you wouldn't be going to these places if it wasn't for me. And I hate to say that and sound ugly, but y'all get what I'm kind of saying right there. When I tell y'all that this man was so demanding about where he wanted to go on this trip, and for me, I'm thinking like, if you wanted to go on this trip so bad, why don't you book the trip and go by yourself? Because if someone's gonna come at me like that, if someone didn't do it the way I wanted to, and I was big and boss and big about it, I'm just gonna go ahead, I'm gonna go on the trip you book. The next month, I'm gonna plan my own trip to Costa Rica. That's how a real dog does it. You know, that's what a real boss does it. They're not gonna sit there and bitch and complain about something that they can't even do for themselves. So at that moment, I was like, oh, this guy is really, really, like, he really thinks like he's like that dude, like to be mad about me about a trip because I didn't get my, and mind you, I'm super busy around this time, guys. You guys know that I was getting my RN around this time. You know, I was very, very busy around this time. I had a lot of things going on, and all you see is this guy being very negative, and I'm like, okay, like, all right, fine. So that was the first thing, like, in my head, like I said, I'm not trying to be ugly or whatever, but I kind of feel like to be as demanding like that, and then like, I've taken you on more experiences. And again, I understood this guy's financial situation. Obviously, when it came to me and when we were dating, I was making almost 4 times this man's salary. And I understood that. So for me to go on a trip, I'm gonna pay for the trip. It's no big deal. Like, I'll pay for the trip. We go on it, you know, you pay for some excursions, you pay for some food, stuff like that. That's what you think. But honestly, and I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys, he barely paid for the stuff on the trip. I would go ahead and book the entire trip. And when we get there, it would be like here and there. We'll have money for stuff, but barely. The first time we went on our big trip, when we went to Thailand, I paid for Thailand and everything like that. And he was promising that he would actually pay for like the excursions and the food in Thailand, which is not expensive at all. Anyways, the stuff there is really cheap. And I went to Thailand in 2017. Didn't pay for a damn thing when we got there. He said that his bank cards wasn't working or whatever. So he basically had an all-inclusive trip. Like, whatever. And again, I didn't see it like a big deal because friends and family, if you ain't got it, I got it. We all go together. And that was my mentality back there. But you got to be careful with these types of entities because they will see that and they run with it. and they'll take advantage of you for it. So at this point of the relationship, we weren't really like intimate like that around this time. And again, this was closer to the time that I left this person. I left him within like a few months, like right after this trip. So we weren't really kind of like intimate like that, like not in that sense. Not really. Like, I'm gonna be completely honest. We just weren't like, I just really didn't care, and the person didn't care. And I honestly think around that time that the person probably was messing with somebody else or was with somebody else. And honestly, I could care less. I really didn't care. And I'll explain to you guys why. So on the trip, guys, I felt like, okay, even again with that mentality in my head, because I'm not going to sit here and try to act like I didn't have like these visions of trying to make things work. Because like I said to you guys in the beginning, I had like this mentality in my head, oh, let's try to make things work, you know, stick with it, you know, maybe he's going through something, blah, blah, blah. Making excuses, because again, you make excuses for things that you want, even though you shouldn't even be in the situation at all. So on the trip, I'm thinking like, okay, this would be a nice trip. We had like a private villa, not a private villa, it was a villa with like it was like kind of like an apartment style villa, like a huge like house, like a little mansion, mini mansion with a pool. So I'm like, it's a nice little villa type situation. It was a really nice room. This could be like a nice, you know, romantic trip. Maybe, you know, cause something, you know, romantic could happen. I don't even know why I was thinking that, but again, that's what you think. So I'm not gonna sit here and cap like I didn't think that was what it was. That's what I thought, right? When I tell you guys there was no romance on that trip, if you guys go watch that video, which did I private that video? That video still, it's probably still up because I'm gonna collect my coins even if I had a bad time, period. So on that trip, if you, like, I just, like, it was just very dry. Like, you could just tell, like, that, like, there was, like, nothing. Even at the part, for the dinner at the gazebo, it was just very dry, and the person just did not seem interested at all. Like, the person just did not care. They were just kind of like on their phone the entire time. And that's another thing, like, this person was on their phone the entire time. And again, you remember I told you, probably on the phone, like screenshotting, watching the ex, probably doing stuff, probably talking to somebody the entire time on the phone, which I don't know. I never went through his phone to check stuff like that because I really didn't care. Like, honestly and truly, at that point, I started to be like disgusted by the person. Like I'm the prize. Like, this dude was really making me feel like he was attempting to lower my self-esteem, if y'all know what I mean. He was attempting to lower my self-esteem by just kind of like stonewalling me, not giving me any affection, not giving me any type of conversation, not giving me anything. So he literally was good at doing that to hurt my feelings and lower me down. So on the trip, there was absolutely no intimacy. And I remember at one point of the trip, and I'm so embarrassed to say this to you guys, at the trip, I actually cried. And I was like, I had a moment, a weak moment, like a dumbass. And I remember crying, and I was like, yo, like, why do I feel like we're not, like, you know, connecting? And just even thinking back at this, I'm so embarrassed that I ever in my life could have exposed myself or let this person see me like that, because I felt like at that moment, he probably was like enjoying that moment, almost like, not that I was begging, almost that I was like begging for affection or asking for, you know, like, what's up type of situation. And I'm telling you, I feel like that person thrived for that. He loved that. He wanted me to, I'm telling y'all, he literally wanted me to beg him for stuff like that. So what he would do in the relationship was basically stonewall me and not give me any affection, any love, or anything like that. And again, one thing about me, and I'm gonna say this, and I don't care if I say this, I'm not gonna beg any dust or pebble or crust for anything. I'm not about to beg you for affection. You're not even, you know what I'm saying? At that point, I was like, okay. I even remember calling my sisters, and I told my sisters, I was like, yo, honestly, I'm about to just tell dude right now, like, let's just make this an open relationship type thing, because one thing about me is if I want to get it, I'm gonna get it, period. Okay? It's not a problem for me, baby. It's not. I could have a lineup right now, babes. Period. So in my head, I'm like, okay, like, if you want to play this game, which is kind of stupid, just break up with him, Dom. Why even give him that option to say, oh, let's have an open relationship? Then you're literally just making this into a roommate situation. So I remember saying that to myself, like, bro, don't do that. Like, don't do that. So like I said, I was gonna tell him, like, let's have an open relationship, because I'm not about to beg no dust or no pebble for no slang. Like, it's not that deep. It's 2025. Well, back then it was like 2021. 2021, I could order this off of Tinder. I could order this online. No big deal, okay? So on the trip, I was just kind of, you know, I had an emotional part. I'm just kind of like, yo, what's the deal? Like, why do I feel like there's like no connection? Like, why do I feel like it's dry? Like, this is a nice romantic trip. And I remember saying this like a fucking idiot. Oh, this is a nice romantic trip. Like, I feel like, you know, like, you're not like really like, you know, like, it's not, oh God, I'm so embarrassed to even mention this, because it's embarrassing. Like, look at him and look at me. For real though, you feel me? So even just mentioning is embarrassing, but yeah, so I remember I had like a little moment I was crying, like, you're like what's tea? Like, what's going on? Like, why is this not romantic? Like, why do I feel like we're just like in two different places? Like I said, this guy was on his phone the entire time on the trip. He was on his phone the entire time. And this thing's like, oh, he's working. Like, like, where's the money, honey? Like, you're working, but where's the money, honey? You feel me? Like, I just didn't understand that. Again, it's supposed to be a birthday trip. It's supposed to be a romantic trip. But again, you're on your phone. And Lord knows, like I said to you, what this dude is doing on the phone. But again, it is what it is. Never looked back at his phone to find out or whatever it was. So at that point, I was like, you know, I'll take care of my own self. I get my toys or whatever it is, blah, 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 and I'll be good to go. I remember one time we had a party at the house, and in the bedroom, I had my side, he had his side, and I had like a little ottoman. And on the ottoman, I had my toys laid out or whatever. Yeah, I do. Because even in the middle of the night, you could be sleeping, bzzz, right before you fall, bzzz. Yeah, because I didn't give a fuck at that point. I really didn't care. Like, I'm not about to beg you, honey. It's either I go out and get it by myself behind your back, which you know, if I wanted to, I could. You feel me? You know that. So I could have did that, but I said, you know, I'm gonna put a little pride on myself. I'm gonna take care of this by myself because I don't need you. So yeah, in the middle of the night, right, whatever time it was, you just falling asleep, just bzzz, yep, that's all you're hearing. And I didn't care. Like, I didn't care, and I had no shame about it because, like for real. So I left the stuff outside of the bed, right, guys? I mean, outside on my ottoman. And one of my friends came, we had a party, one of my friends needed to use the bathroom inside, and she walked through and saw it. My friends know, I'm like, they don't care. Like, you know, I talk to my friends, we have conversations about that. Like, I'm, you know, the toy girl, whatever, right? I guess. So she walked in, she saw him, you know, whatever. They don't say anything. It's no big deal. It's like, it's normal stuff, right? Y'all know this dude got mad at me, and the only reason why I tell y'all this guy got mad at me is because he wants to put out this facade to everyone. Because again, they always try to boast up in front of everyone. Oh, I'm doing my big one. I'm doing my big one when they're not doing nothing. And he didn't want people to know that he wasn't doing it, and I had to do it myself. But so yeah, on that vlog, a lot of you guys mentioned the whole part of me giving him the Alexander McQueens and how his reaction when I gave him the Alexander McQueens was just very bland. And again, I felt the same sentiments. Now, the reason why I had a problem with the whole Alexander McQueen thing was because this person wanted these shoes so bad. He requested the shoes. This was the shoes that he wanted. Honestly, throughout the whole relationship, I never realized till after this person requested a lot of pretty expensive items. You know, I can't seem to forget that. But again, you know, me being the nice person I am, because again, I showed too much kindness. I was too giving and too nice and free with certain types of gifts. So of course he's going to ask for the most. So of course he did. So he asked for some Alexander McQueens, and I was like, okay, you know, like my sisters had bought me a pair of them, I think the year prior, and he saw them, he liked them. So I was like, okay, like, I guess I'll get him the Alexander McQueens. I'm not sure if he knew that I actually got the Alexander McQueens from him, but obviously you guys saw in the video I got him the Alexander McQueens. Now, when I gave him the gift, I too was like, dag, like, he's not even excited about it, nothing. And I kind of felt like I was almost forcing this guy to be excited about the shoes. And again, this is the part when I'm telling you guys that I just felt like there was so much ungratefulness. Like, it's almost of the sense is that the person deserved the shoes. Like, he did something outstanding to deserve the shoes. Like, I just didn't understand why he felt like he was that guy. Like, I just didn't, okay, you get a gift from somebody, but just act a little bit kind and generous to it. Like, he literally, and again, like I said, I feel like he did that a lot of the times to kind of humble me. Like, I felt like it was a humbling thing for me. Like, oh, just because you can get these shoes for me don't mean shit. Like, don't mean shit to me. Like, in that sense, y'all kind of get what I'm saying? Like, I don't, like, it's like you request stuff, I help you out, I get it for you, and then you kind of like punish me for doing it. Y'all get kind of what I'm saying? Like, I could not understand why he was doing that. Like, it's like you're requesting the stuff, and again, with me, with my Capricorn side, my little anger side, I'm also thinking to myself, you're acting like this as if you could afford these shoes yourself when you can't. Like, I could never in my life stand in front of somebody and be like that, like ugly like that. Like that is so ugly of you. Like, you're asking for the most expensive stuff. Someone goes out of their way to get the stuff for you. They're excited. You know, they're taking you on this all-inclusive trip. You didn't pay for anything on this trip. You didn't pay for anything. You came collecting passports with an attitude. You know? just collecting passports with a whole attitude, treating me terribly. And I couldn't understand that, like, bro, you requested the shoes, you wanted the shoes, I get you the shoes, and you act like, oh, this ain't no big deal. Oh, this ain't nothing. Like, oh, okay, like, you know? And that's, I'm telling y'all, I felt it the same way y'all saw that is the same way I felt it. He acted like it was no big deal. He act like he be popping bottles of Moet all the time. Like, he act like he can just go out and do that. And again, I'm not trying to brag about what I can do for somebody. I'm not trying to be ugly in that sense, but it's kind of like when you have somebody that's literally trying to basically shut down everything you've done for them or everything you do for them that they've requested, that they want, doing things that makes them happy or doing things that they, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is stuff that the person asked for. I'm not going out trying to fulfill I'm not making these gifts up, or I'm not making these things up. You're requesting it, I'm trying to do something nice for you, and then you're punishing me for doing it. Let me tell y'all, when I tell y'all, I was just kind of sitting there like, okay, like, and again, that little attitude in me is like, if it's not that much of a big deal, then go get it yourself. But you can't. And you know, funny thing about these shoes came up a couple years later, these shoes came up the following year later. And it's so funny how the shoes came up, because I almost felt like I was getting blamed for this too. And this is the craziest thing ever. So dude ends up going to work, and I guess like one of the big heads at his job, he wore the shoes to work. I mean, because Alexander McQueen's are kind of like shoes that you could actually wear to work. Like, they're a nice pair of shoes. They're kind of hard sole. I wouldn't wear them to work, but if you have a job where you're sitting at a desk or whatever, if you're just like, you're not running up and down, those are nice shoes to wear to work, right? So dude decides to wear the shoes to work. There was like this big like meeting or whatever, and I guess he wanted to show up or show out. So one of the big heads came up to him, and the head was like to him, oh, nice shoes or whatever. Are those real? Now, I laughed when that happens, because I've never heard someone come up to someone and ask them if their Alexander McQueen shoes are real. Now, obviously they're real. Like, come on now. Like, I got them. Those are official Alexander McQueen. But I thought it was funny because he came back to the crib and almost was kind of like mad at me that happened to him. Like, almost getting an attitude at me for buying the shoes for him, the shoes that he requested. It's not my fault you're wearing a pair of shoes that's too high on the caliber for the person that you are. And I felt like he felt some type of way, because I've never in my life heard anyone ask someone if their Alexander McQueen shoes are fake. That's embarrassing, bro. But maybe they're not looking at the shoes being fake. Maybe they're actually looking at you. They know that you don't have the funds for those shoes. They know that you don't even come work dressed to the T like you could afford those shoes. But y'all see? But came back to the house to tell the story and get an attitude with me about buying the shoes. How am I getting blamed because you want a shoes that you can't live up to? I can't make this up. So on the last day of the trip, y'all, we have to go get COVID test done. Go to the room to get the COVID test done. It was a male nurse, and this male nurse, you know, he's one of the gays, okay? You know, and I can say that because you know I hang out with the gays, okay? So he was one of the gays. You could see it immediately when you walked in. You just knew immediately when I saw him that he was one of the gays. So walked in, he was, you know, very nice or whatever, but I noticed that like he was giving that person like a little bit like extra attention or whatever. And to me, I really don't care. Like, I kind of feel like, you know, maybe he knew something that I didn't know. Like, I was just so confused about that. And, you know, I'm just kind of like, okay, like whatever. Like, so the entire time when we were in there, the nurse that was taking our COVID test, I just felt like he was just getting like hella attitude with me, and it was just like really weird, because I'm like, where is this energy coming from? Like, what is going on? Like, if you want that man, you could have the man, honey. I don't care. Like, I was so confused about that, and I kid you guys not, the entire time while I was sitting there, this person literally was sitting there enjoying this moment. Like, I can't. I'm not even trying to joke around with y'all. I caught a sense of enjoyment of seeing me upset or seeing me bothered by the way, because there's no way that this person didn't feel that vibe. There was a vibe in the room with the male nurse that was a little bit off. It was very aggressive and off. And I'm just sitting there like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, what's tea? Like, what's tea? So he's in there and he's not saying anything. The male nurse is just kind of getting like real like snippy with me and stuff like that. I'm just kind of like, yo, like what's going on? Like, am I on like a Am I like on a TV show? Like, what is going on right now? So he finished doing the COVID test or whatever. And again, he's like being very flirty, like being very, very flirty with dude. And I'm just sitting there like, is this like really happening in my face? Like, is he like gonna just keep going and like going, honestly and truly just going along with it too? Like answering all the questions, being very like polite and like normal, like acting like it's no big deal. But I'm supposed to be your girl. Like, you're not gonna clock T when T needs to be clocked. Like, you're gonna just let him talk to me like that? Like, what's going on? Like, I didn't understand that. So as we're heading out, and let me tell you something, honestly, I feel like the only reason why I was kind of like annoyed by this, and it's not about trying to my man, no, it was nothing about my man. I think I was a little bit more triggered about this, especially because of that whole homeboy situation that time. I feel like I don't know, I feel like the homeboy situation came in my head. I know it's kind of weird to say that, but the whole homeboy situation came in my head, and the way he was acting with the nurse was just pissing me the hell off. So I'm like, what the hell, am I missing something? So when I walk outside, I look at him and I'm like, is there something that I don't know? Cause like, why was he acting like that with you in there? He was hella flirty with you in there and you didn't say anything. Like what's tea? Oh, what you talking about? Like nothing. And I'm just sitting there like, okay, like the fuck is going on? So I don't know, I think I was just pissed. I'm just like, again, and I'm telling you, I think that this person did this on purpose and used to do, like, even with the ex, still having the ex like contact you, the ex still contacting him, even though I know he wasn't contacting her. He did stuff like that to make me jealous. He wanted me to be jealous. He wanted me to be mad because he wanted me to feel like, you know, he was that guy. Like, he wanted me to think like, oh, people were chasing after him. But you know, when you kind of wake up, I kind of realized like, ain't nobody after you. You calling these girls, you're texting your ex. Like, nobody's looking for you, babes. Like, nobody wants you. Like nobody wants you like that. So I felt like he was doing stuff like that to get under my skin, to make himself seem like he was that guy. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It just pissed me off because I'm like, what is going on? Like when I tell y'all, the nurse was acting really, really like, almost like this my man combative type shit. And I'm just sitting there like, yo, am I in the Twilight Zone? Like, why are you not checking this dude? Like, why are you not checking him? Like, talking to me crazy. You could have checked him. He's a man. Like, what's going on? If you guys have any recommendations for a good foundation powder, the what's that brand? Sephora has a good powder. Their foundation powder is pretty good. Let me know if you guys have any other recommendations before I go and buy one. So go ahead and leave that in the comments. I'm using the 450 from Fenty Beauty just to kind of seal everything up so I have my color comes back in with all the powder. Y'all see, I like triple powder, but y'all see that contour, baby. Hey, so I'm gonna go ahead and spray with the one size. For my lip gloss today, I did my pencil. I did the mahogany pencil from NYX. I do this as the base color. If you want that nice mauve look for my Cocoa girls, mahogany from NYX, $4 or $5, excellent base. Woo, beautiful. I use that. I also use the Fenty cream gloss, and I use the Fenty Glow #2. Y'all, this, do y'all see that? And I actually line my lips with black pencil instead of brown because it just gives more of like a little, y'all see what it's giving. I also did go in with the Ruby Kisses Butter Bomb gloss around the pencil just to kind of soften the pencil up. And this is in the color Bow, RBL05 Bow. Very cute. This is only like a beauty spice for like $3. It ain't even that deep for that one. So these combination with a black pencil and my mahogany, this is my go-to lip. It always eats it up, y'all. Look at that. Such a nice mix. So I got one more thing to do. So this is kind of like the finished look. I did go ahead and add a little extra blush because you guys know I love my blush. So Benefits Cosmetics sent me a PR package and I got this color Moon, this blush Moon. When I tell you guys this blush is so elite, it has like a little bit of an iridescent type of look to it, y'all. I absolutely love this blush for my Cocoa Skin girls. This just eats it up every single time. They did their big one with this one, y'all. I actually think I have a link for this one down in my bio, so you guys go ahead and click that. You got to get your hands on it. It's really, really nice. It's pigmented, and again, it has like a little bit of a shine to it. So it has like a look at, yeah, love it. So this is kind of the finished look. Let me spray. I didn't spray. So I was gonna spray last time, but I didn't spray. So let me quickly spray. So after this trip, y'all, I'll let this trip rock out. Again, I told you guys this was the last trip that I ever went on with this person. I'm going to explain to you guys why this is the last trip I went on with this person. Now, my birthday was maybe like 3 months after this person's birthday, and obviously they got to go on their birthday trip, so my birthday trip was supposed to come up. So this person had planned to take me to Paris for my birthday, and obviously you guys know, because you guys didn't see a Paris vlog, I never got to go on the trip to Paris. Like, I never went on the trip to Paris. So he was like, oh, you know, it's a little expensive right now, let's postpone it. Kept postponing. He postponed it to Valentine's Day, which is in February. Didn't go Valentine's Day. And then he even extended it a little bit further into around like April, but around that time, around April, we had gotten into a little fight around that, argument around that time. It probably was something that had to do with the trip, but I don't even know, and I don't really care what it was about. And around that time, I was moving to my next apartment. So got pushed to April, and then after that argument, we never talked about the trip to France ever again. So my birthday trip didn't exist. Like, again, for someone that was so demanding about going somewhere for their birthday and very, very demanding, requested, and ungrateful about a trip, when it came time for my trip to come up, there was no intent of doing anything. There was no plan of doing anything. They literally just came to have a good time for themselves and collect what they wanted. Like, that was like, when I tell you guys, that was like the true, that was like the final testament. Like when I tell you, I was like, this dude really, like, you're telling me you're planning a trip. Why are we not going on the trip? Like, completely just let it go, right? So around like June or July, I'm not sure exactly the days. I know in July I went to Vegas with my sisters on a sister's trip to Vegas. And I went to Vegas in July. And then in August, luckily, I went to France. But this time I went to Nice. I didn't go to Paris, I went to Nice. Now, you guys never got a vlog for Nice because I ended up losing the memory card around the time of like the separation. And everything was just going crazy around the house, so I lost that memory card. But I did actually go to Nice that summer. So I did go to France. I just didn't go to Paris. But I went to Nice with my sister and my best friend Alex. So I ended up going to France regardless. It wasn't on my birthday, but I went with other people I went with people. Real people that actually loved and cared about me. So I ended up getting the opportunity to go to Nice that year. So around June, this dude decides that he has enough money, he has enough resources to pay for a concert ticket in Atlanta, to also pay to get on a Greyhound bus to go to Atlanta from New York. Yeah. So even had money to pay for a Greyhound bus to get to Atlanta, and also had money to pay for a hotel in Atlanta to go to a concert. So I guess the homeboys wanted to go ahead and go to Atlanta, because if I didn't mention, the homeboys they were originally from Atlanta, Georgia. So he wanted to go ahead with them down to Atlanta to go and let's go to this concert. So you didn't have the money for my birthday trip to Paris. You kept backing it up because of finance reasons, because you don't have the money. But you have the money to go on a trip with your homeboy. Yeah. He played me though. That's cool. But at the end of the day, like I said, the thing that I regret the most is allowing somebody to have those experiences. And I think I battled with that more than anything throughout this whole thing. I battled with the fact that I allow this person to come on these extravagant vacations, get to experience like the things that this person would have never experienced. And then I started to think about it, and I, you know, like when you have that conversation with God, and I said to myself, you know what? That person was meant to have those experiences for a reason. And the reason that I think the person was meant to have those experiences is because they'll never have those experiences ever again. So you're welcome. So yeah, so that's basically how the Antigua trip went. Like I said to you guys, the Antigua trip was the trip that was a final blow. It was a final blaster for me. So last year I was fortunate enough to go on a girls trip with my friends to Antigua. So we went back and I had an absolutely amazing time with my friends. I'm not trying to say that I have a good time before, because the experience I had, regardless of the entity that was on the trip with me, I had a good time regardless. And that's why I would say to you guys, with therapy, this has helped me. I'm not gonna lie, therapy had to help me along the way. Even though I had a shitty relationship around those times, I've had the most and the best experiences back then in those years. Like, I'm not discounting anything. Like, one monkey don't stop the show. So regardless if that entity was there trying to ruin the things along the way, I had a great time. I have great memories. I have great experiences. It's not directed by the entity. The entity is gone out of the experience. Like, literally, I've learned to just watch that person's face out of the experience. They weren't there. So that's how you move on with your life. Like, yeah, so that's how Antigua's trip went, guys. Again, it's so embarrassing because you kind of, like, I'm vlogging the trip, I'm going along, and even going back to when I edited the vacation vlog, I said to myself, like, this is kind of cringe. I know it was cringe, but I still put it up there to put a smile on, because you gotta fake it till you make it, right? Something I will no longer be participating in ever again. So if you guys enjoyed this story time today, guys, go ahead and leave your comments down below. Let me know. Have y'all had the same situation? I kind of feel like reading the comments, we have all encountered the same dude. This has to be studied.